All right, hey everyone. So let's get started here. First, let's all stand up. Stand up a little. I know you've had a few drinks, so don't get too crazy. Stay put.
No more classes happening.
So I just want to say thank you for all of you for coming out tonight. Okay. My first non-hard money tip to you guys, because we do a lot of marketing, so we can cover marketing if you guys want, is during the summer is when you guys double down on your marketing. It's not when you soften up. You're gonna have everybody tell you market's slow, things are slow, go on vacation now. You guys are out here tonight, I'm here tonight, we're all kicking ass tonight, this summer, and this is the time to do it. It's gonna pay off in October, November, and December, so give yourself a round of applause for being out here tonight.
Oh, yeah.
That's it, you guys can relax, enjoy your wine. You don't have to, you can stay in the dance the whole time. That's it.
I thought we were going Tony Robbins style, right? I know,
Yeah.
Jump
Morning
on
Okay.
twice.
So also, I know this stuff about hard money, so if I'm talking too fast, you can just say, whoa, say it again. Anytime you have a question, just,
Kidding.
anytime you have a question, just interrupt, ask, no problem. So I'm here for you guys, right? This isn't a sales pitch, this is to educate you guys and help you guys out with anything you want. So let's start here. Has anybody ever used hard money?
Yes.
We got one, okay. We know the experience is slightly terrifying.
Clients have.
Clients have, yes, of course. Is anybody looking to use hard money possibly in the future? They want to know a little more? Okay, maybe you want to know for your clients, that's fine. Okay, so all right, let me ask, why not? Why, did anybody
Because
fix
hard
and flip?
money, you know what it makes me think of?
Yeah,
Like if
go
I
ahead.
can't pay it back, somebody's coming to break my legs.
The thumbs. It's only the
That's
thumbs.
why, that's
Yeah,
why,
yeah.
yeah.
Never the legs.
We don't go for lights anymore, yeah.
And we, that's the connotation I have
Absolutely,
with
yeah.
it.
It's got a
Also, I
strong-
would say that, like, as real estate agents, we're like, that's our language, mortgages. Cash mortgages, that's it, right? So like, it's one or the other.
Yeah,
So
right,
we
right.
wait till we have the conventional 20% down, second home, second investment type of thing. So
Sure.
it's like, it's not, there's not a language for it.
Okay, yeah, no, it's all fair. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not gonna soften it. At 12 months, if you have not been doing a good job, you're gonna be in a little bit of trouble, right? And we don't break your kneecaps, though. It's all gonna be legal. For the most part, 99% of our clients, we're trying to work with you to extend this. We're trying to say, okay, what do you need to get this done in the next 3-4 months, right? And we wanna help you.
Right.
The legal process of taking over a house is a nightmare. Most lenders, like 95% of them, avoid that. Some of them do lend loan to own.
Uh-huh.
You can sniff them out real fast because they're like, you have 3 months to flip this or else we're taking your property back. Don't sign those contracts.
Yeah.
Don't get those. Talk to your lender. Get to know them, right? Get to know, hey, what happens at 12 months, right? Like, what if I haven't sold the house? I flipped it, but I haven't sold it. What happens? You know, if they're telling you we're going to work on an extension, that's a good relation you want with that lender. You want that. The only time that we actually foreclose is when that person goes missing or they are not communicating with us anymore, which has happened. Somebody actually died on us. That's one case, and then another one, guy just stopped talking to us. So I can literally, on one hand, count when that happens. So, yes, it's scary. You had 12 months to do it. Is that really the case? Not really. We're gonna work with you to get that property sold. It's in everyone's best interest for that to happen. So that's the scary part out of the way, I guess, right? I mean, it's maybe still as scary. I'm just gonna keep moving because I don't know how to soften that anymore. So, okay, so what's the first step when you're looking for hard money? Does anybody have, you guys have clients that, investors?
They use it for their own home.
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I
okay.
have a lot of investors.
Now, when they come to you, do they ask you, like, what, I need money here, like, what would I do? And you recommend them to hard money?
Well, they say like, they talk about what they're looking for to buy,
Mm-hmm.
and then, why they're not gonna use a regular loan, or why they don't wanna use a regular loan.
Yep.
If they can't be approved for a regular loan, they know these things in advance.
Yep.
But they know that there's creative ways to still get it done.
So in that case, they're usually looking for a short term to get them over to the long term
Yeah,
lender,
like under
right?
12 months, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, alright, so in that case, we're great for that. We're good for getting people over the hurdle when maybe their credit got hit or they need to establish credit right? They'll go to a lender for that. But for the most part, when people are using loans, it's for fix and flips. Does anybody here work with anybody who does fix and flips? Okay. So, what would be the first reason why you would want to use hard money in a fix and flip scenario? Actually, any reason. Does anybody have any reasons why you would want to use hard money in general?
So you don't have to use your own,
Okay. Why? What does that matter?
Might not have it.
cause it's easier to work.
Might not have it.
Credit quality could be a challenge.
Okay.
It's also rate fund quickly.
Cash flow.
Yeah.
Cash flow is probably the number one answer there. So you turn your $10,000 you've saved, you turn your $50,000 you've saved into $100,000, into $250,000 without doing anything other than having a relation with a person who can give this money to you. So instead of being in one flip at a time, because usually when you start, you put down, let's just say everything you saved up. You saved up $50,000. You put it into this one house.
Too brown.
Now you're locked into this house and only this house. What happens when another good deal, a better deal than the one you just locked in, walks by and you're like, well, I just put all my money into this one. I can't shake this. I can't do it anymore, right? So the first thing is you want to stay liquid. That is the most important thing when you're in the real estate industry, is staying as liquid as possible, because you do not want to miss those good deals. So you do that by leveraging a hard money lender. You'll put $25,000 down on that house. They'll cover the rest. Now you have $25,000 sitting in your bank, right? So you can go anywhere you want with that 25. You're not going to miss that second deal that comes by. So first part is you turn one deal into 5 deals by using hard money. So with that said, I'm going to bring out the whiteboard. There's 3 types of lenders that you're going to bump into. Anybody, you guys have done, well, I guess nobody's done a hard money loan, but you guys have done classic, long-term mortgages, right? So those guys are going to be your mortgage and institutionally funded. I'm writing this out just so you know who you are talking to if you're ever looking for hard money. You want to know the right questions to ask and things like that when you're talking to a lender. I have terrible handwriting. I really apologize for that. Your mortgage, institutionally funded. Your mortgage and institutionally funded. This is one. Then you have private money.
Like seller finance.
Seller finance can be an example of that. We are also an example of that because all of our money is friends, family, and personal money. So we don't follow the same rules as institutionally funded ones. That's how, like, when you have some companies that say we can close in 24 hours, you say, how is that possible? Like, how come nobody else can do that, right? Because it's the wild, wild west when it comes to private money. The legal rules pretty much are none. Everything changes once you're in an owner-occupied house, though. We can't touch that. Private money cannot touch that. You have to go to these guys. So it seems like the light bulb go off there.
Ah, stinks. Yeah, I have a multi-family buyer who wants to live there.
Gotcha.
He has to go FHA, he's getting killed.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, we can get tricky with that in the sense of if they put an LLC for the first year and then once they pay us back, they can move in. We don't care what they do with the property after they move in. But that first year, while they're in our note, they can't live there. But if they want to buy it, put one of those units in an LLC, not live there. Yeah, just a way we can get tricky. And the last one, which isn't even really a lender, but is a broker. But a lot of them will say, I'm a lender. So you just want to be not careful. These guys are great. We love brokers. Brokers are the best. They bring business to everyone. But you do want to know if you're talking to a direct lender or a broker. A broker would basically just shop for you to other lenders, but they don't actually put any risk out there. So they're not the ones giving you the money. They would actually end up talking to us, and then we would be the ones that determine. So these are the 3 lenders, 2 lenders, 1 mass lender. So the reason why I outlined these 2 or 3 is you just want to know the advantages to each. Private funded, you're going to get usually better rates. That is not with us, even though we're privately funded, but I'll go into that. Usually better rates, faster, and easier. The reason why you usually get better rates with private is because you usually know the person. It's usually what it is. You know somebody who has $1 million, $2 million, they're looking to put capital in, so they'll be your private lender. They'll give you the best rates. Hard to find, really hard to find. You gotta know them. You can go to a lot of events like this, and you'll still never bump into one, but maybe you will. So they're rare. Most people go to these guys, which is good. They're good too. There's a place for both of these. They're gonna be a little bit more established, because when things go wrong, and believe me, they will, you may want a lender that knows what's going on, and not somebody who just said, yeah, sure, here's $300,000. As soon as something goes wrong, like its septic needs to be redone, you know, they're like, I don't know what to do here, we're screwed, right? So you want a company that has a little bit more knowledge. So, these guys are a little bit slower though, and this matters a lot in the flipping world, especially when you have 12 months to get your money back, to flip your house and sell it, right? So the biggest thing with this is when you're talking with these guys and you say, how fast can we close? So you have your property and you're ready to, like, everything's ready, everything's lined up, and they say it's gonna take us about 4 weeks to get everything lined up. And you say, why? Like, you said we could do this. They have to go back to a bank to get all this paperwork approval. You're gonna have to send them your credit score, your pay stubs, your W-2s, your whole life history. You gotta send it all. And that takes a lot of time for them to review. Private usually doesn't really care about that. We're going off of the deal, like saying, okay, we're comfortable giving you $300,000 here. So we'll be there tomorrow if that's what you want. You're not gonna find that with most private lenders. We're probably the only private lender that can literally close in 24 hours. But the point is they're faster.
So, excuse me,
Yeah.
so you're evaluating the actual deal on private money, and the mortgage is actually evaluating the buyer.
That's 100% correct. I mean, they're gonna look at the property as well. They're gonna send an appraiser out, which also takes a lot of time for them to do. And then it's gotta go again back to the bank, they gotta do all their checks. But that appraiser value is what they're strictly going off of, right? And the rest is the person gonna pay me back? Will this person pay me back? That's what they wanna know. Private money, we're looking at the deal itself. We're looking at this house and saying, if you go missing day one, are we still gonna make money on this? So as a flipper, these guys cover you a little bit better. These guys are gonna go after you. These, like, you talk about breaking legs, they will take everything and anything from you, because they know everything you have. We're gonna go after the property first. We're gonna try to collect our money back on our property first, and then if, for whatever reason, there is something left, we're gonna say, hey, you owe us this, but that's rarely the case. So yeah, it's most people believe this is safer for them to do that. It's less scary to go to the institution, but they can take everything from you. Whereas private money is we're just looking, we went into a deal already, a strong deal. These guys may not necessarily have done that, which is what happened back in 2008, right? Like the banks were just giving out loans like crazy, right? They had no idea what the true value is of the property. That's what it was. And then when they had to collect, they're like, well, the appraiser said it was this much, and they're like, that's not how much it's selling for, right? So they're like, I don't care, I'm going after the person who signed the contract with us, even though by that point they were selling so many contracts they didn't know.
Well, they were gambling on
which
appreciation, yeah.
they were gambling,
Yeah.
100%. But their collateral was the person. Our collateral is the house before the person, right? So yeah, it's a good observation. And your broker has no risk; they don't care. They're just trying to shop the quickest and easiest. So they are good. Brokers are really good. If you have a good one, it can be helpful to send your client, especially if they have various needs. It can be really good to get in touch with the broker to help you shop that out. But you might lose your referral if you're trying to get that referral fee. Okay, so that's the different lenders. We land in private money. Any questions so far? Good, kind of makes sense, yeah.
Are you gonna go over the rates, the difference of?
Sure, yeah. So typically your rates right now is the best time to be flipping. My gosh, rates, you're not gonna see them any lower than this right now. So you'll see, I've seen 8 and 0, and I'll explain what 8 and 0 means. 9 and 1, 10 and 2, and 12 and 2, and 14 and 4. Okay, So is anybody, not, I'm just gonna explain it, not you're gonna ask. So 12 months is your typical loan, it's your short term. When you hear short term, they're almost always referring to 12 months, you should still ask, sometimes they were talking about 6, 12 months. So that means over 12 months, that loan is gonna cost that person 8%. So if you put down a $100,000 loan, in 12 months, they would have paid $8,000 in interest. So $108,000 total by the end. That makes sense? So by 12 months, it's the thing. The 0, so 8 and 0 is points. So let me go into 9 and 1. So this would be 9% over 12 months, and 1 point. Point is a fancy way of saying percent. I don't know why it's a thing, but instead of saying percent, we say point. 1 point at close, which means you are putting $1,000 down on a $100,000 loan at closing. So 10 and 2 means
As a cost or as, like,
It's a fee, you're not putting it down.
It's
you're
not-
paying it.
yeah, you're paying it.
yeah, okay,
Someone's
it's lost
early.
money.
It's lost money.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
In fact, the points are gone. You're not getting those back.
Yeah, yeah.
These, however, in a way you can get them back in the sense of you don't have to stay in the flip for 12 months. If you can flip that house in 4 to 5 months,
Yeah,
you're only paying, usually, you gotta ask your lender, the 4 to 5 months worth. So if you were in it for
Of
6
points.
months at 8%, you'd be paying 4%. Yeah. Does everybody understand that? Just how long you're in the loan would reduce your
right.
12 month, okay. Sometimes, you know, we say no prepayment penalties, that's what you wanna ask, prepayment penalties. Make sure there's no prepayment penalties, because lenders will capture you for
I
that.
think it's not allowed in New Jersey.
Oh, really?
I-
That's
yeah.
good.
Not for
I mean-
personal, for personal it's not, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for personal.
Do you have minimum
Yeah, I was
interest?
gonna say, what's
Do
that?
you have minimum interest payment requirements?
Just the monthly, whatever the monthly would be.
Right, but if somebody does like an Uber quick flip or something like that, you have no,
Gotcha, us personally, we do 3 months, but honestly, we could waive it if they told us ahead of time, like, hey, I'm in and out in a month, like,
Right.
we'll just waive it.
okay,
So nobody ever really flips faster than 3 months, so it's
Sure.
usually not a problem.
just asking.
But yeah, that's, yeah. So,
I heard
Yeah.
from one of the mortgage lenders in my office, he said that he would not lend to a fix and flip that was going to be less than 6 months. Because as a loan officer,
Mm.
they then actually have to give up their commission on that if it's less than 6 months.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's an
he said if
institutionally
you
funded
can't,
one.
if you're not holding it for 6 months, he goes, then I won't do it.
Yeah, that's for sure an institutionally funded guy.
Yeah.
So the way they do the cuts on that kind of thing, it's probably financially true. Like it's not worth it for the loan officer to do it.
Right.
Generally, when you get into the private money, it's not about having an army of loan officers going out. So every deal matters to us. Like it doesn't. If we made 1%, everyone's happy. 'Cause it's me and 3 partners, so there's 4 of us, right? But when you're here, you know, you gotta pay salary for 10 people in an office, right? And then it's scattered. So it doesn't become cost efficient for them. So that is true for some lenders. And that's why having a broker can actually be helpful, because they would just rule them out. Or like you would tell them your problem, tell them I'm gonna be out in 4 months, and they can go down their list and say, okay, I know these 4 lenders will be able to do it for you, these 10 won't.
Right.
So they help you shop. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so your points are gone, you're not getting these back. And I'm gonna just hit you guys with this is what we are. We are the heavy hitters. We ask for a lot of money. It's considered a lot of money now, because 4 years ago we were the cheap guys, believe it or not. It's changed that much in 4 years. None of this even existed, maybe a 12 and 2. But you were down 16.5 and 18.8, yeah, pushing whatever that legal thing is that you can do there, pushing those numbers. So yeah, we were the cheap guys at one point. Now all of a sudden everyone thinks we're the expensive guys. So if you can get these rates, by all means, get them. We are known as the deal savers. We are your last minute lender, because when things blow up, and you're like, let's just say you were using a private lender, happens way more than people think, because that's how we have a business, is they say, my guy backed out last minute.
Yeah.
Or my credit score changed 20 points because I got a new car, I didn't realize it was gonna blow up the whole deal. lose it, or you give us a call. And then, that's why our numbers are our numbers. Like I said, this isn't for selling, that's why I'm here, just educate,
Is that negotiable?
Technically, yes, everything's negotiable in real estate, right? We're not gonna move beyond 13.3 because that, kinda like how your person said, for under 6 months, it's not worth it for us. 13.3, it's like, we're gonna start losing money if we do that, cause there's a cost for being able to get our lawyer on the phone and going in 12 hours. Like, I mean, I closed in 17 and a half hours, that's my fastest closing. So, there's a cost to that.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it's kinda neat, we just, actually, since you guys are realtors, we just comp, that's what we do. We go within 0.1 miles of the property, and we look at similar properties and say, that's gonna sell for
Wait.
X amount.
0.1 miles?
That's correct. 0.25 if you're in rural. That's it. If there's nothing there, we just pass.
Yeah, but there's gotta be nothing there sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I know, I mean,
Yeah.
Well, especially, in where you are, in
Yeah,
PA.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, but in New Jersey, honestly, not that, it's pretty good in New Jersey.
I don't know, I live in rural New Jersey, don't you think?
Rural New Jersey might be tough, yeah. So if it's like super rural, we'll go like 0.5,
yeah.
but if you're on a road and there's just no comps, we're just saying, not gonna do it. We can't risk 500,000 on it. So the way we look at it, we look at institutional funded guys and we say, you guys are crazy. You're willing to put $500,000 down on some random guy going to a house and saying it's worth this amount. They look at us and say, you're crazy. How do you put $500,000 on comps? Everybody just has their own method.
Yeah.
We've been doing it for 11 years. Hasn't let us down yet. So, yeah, it's wild. I mean, a lot of times deals like that will connect with cross collateral. Is anybody familiar with cross collateral? Yeah. If the person owns another property, free and clear, they basically put it up as collateral for us. It's basically like refining out of that property and using it towards that one. Those secure those. Like you
So
can
if-
use money for whatever you want.
With that in mind, like, let's say there's somebody like with the kind of market, that real estate market that we're having right now, where they're moving so fast, if somebody owns their house free and clear, and they find a house they wanna buy, instead of getting a bridge loan, they can come to you and put their house as collateral, because if you can't be owner occupant, then, you know, that would be the next thing, because other thing we see is to get a bridge loan or to refi where they are and take the equity out of it and put it into a new one, but then there's still a closing cost to that.
It's true. They will lose, you know, money on the closing costs, but
And then
that works. Yeah.
the mortgage people, if they know they're gonna do that, they won't do it. They're like, well, if it's under 6 months and we know they're gonna do that, if they know ahead that my seller who's buying a house, if I'm like, well, they're only doing that to buy that house and then they're gonna sell this house and close out, then they'll back out of like giving them the prequal.
I mean, I guess it's up to the seller,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, we have been used as similar to
that,
that. Yeah, like it can be done.
Interesting.
So yeah, you can get real clever when it gets to the private money world, but is it often? No, I mean, honestly, 90% of our business is fix and flips.
Yeah.
So
Now with the fix and flip, can you also finance the construction?
yes, so we do acquisition and rehab.
And it's at the same rate?
Yeah, so for us, we say we go up to 65% of the ARV. After repair value is ARV, so what your value would be after you fix it up. We go up to 65% of that.
Okay.
That covers closing costs, that covers acquisition, that covers rehab. So let's say you're buying a house for $100,000 and you wanna put $30,000 into it, and we're willing to go up to 65% of ARV, we need to see at least a 200K ARV. You do the math on that, it checks out, I swear. But your closing costs are gonna bring that right up to 140. So we're not going any higher than 130, you're gonna have to bring the rest, right? Now, if you're a first time borrower with us, we're not even going to 130, right? We're gonna lower our risk, we'll probably be, if you're a first time flipper and a first time borrower, we're probably gonna be closer to 100K. You're gonna have to bring 40 to the table. Right, so the first deal is always the hardest when flipping, but yeah, that's usually how that goes. So we go up to 65%. ARV covers whatever you need it to cover. That's the nice thing about private money is as long as the money is used towards business purposes, use it for whatever you want. So, yeah. Is everybody familiar with how rehab works? Yeah. Is
Capital gains.
Capital gains. Anybody want me to go into that? You guys, I don't know if you're interested in, if I put you on a construction draw, do you wanna know what that means?
To draw out the money to get it done.
Yeah, I don't know, if you're gonna be doing flipping, you probably wanna know
Yeah.
what's gonna happen. So when you agree with your lender, even though, let's use that example, the eraser.
I couldn't find the eraser, I
That's all right.
apologize.
All good,
It's
so,
kinda nothing.
so 100K acquisition, right, that's how much you're gonna buy it for. You're gonna flip it for 30K, which by the way is very low rehab costs. I would
Yeah.
expect it to be way higher than 30K.
Does it work?
Shows how much you use that dry erase board, Rick. Oh, okay, alright.
Ooh.
Yeah, he does it.
Napping the other day.
Sorry to interrupt. Had to prove you wrong.
I know, did you see his face?
Yes, had to prove you wrong, it doesn't voice.
Alright, so let's use close to the real numbers, so that'd be closer to 50K. And you know what, let me give you a square feet here, so, actually, let's challenge you guys here. How large of a house, square feet, do you think it is, that would be a 50K rehab?
Depends on the severity of the rehab.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Location.
basically a shell. Basically a shell.
Oh.
It doesn't matter, it depends on, is there mold or like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but
It
how
does.
many,
It does.
It's
True.
how many
30,
bathrooms
40
in the
square
kitchen?
foot, something like that.
I
Let's
don't know
say
the dollar
studs.
amount, but
I don't
it's
know.
probably, I can tell you the
2,000?
thousands, like, alright, it's 1,000 square feet.
Yeah, I was gonna say 1,100.
I was gonna say 900.
So, the reason why this is important though is because I have people come in with a 2,000 square foot house and like I'm gonna rehab it in like 25K. I'm like, you can't even get to the front door for 25K.
What if they're just doing like, windows are fine,
Cosmetic?
the bedrooms are
cosmetic
fine,
only
let's say they're
flips.
doing like, minor things in the kitchen and 2 bathrooms, like, is that a thing?
Well, people think it is.
Yeah.
From the lender's perspective, no.
Okay.
We're always gonna be assuming that as soon as you get behind that first wall, I swing the first hammer, there's that giant mold you didn't see, or the whole wires need to be redone. That's what we're assuming as a lender, and that's what you should be assuming as a flipper, because that's not coming out of our pocket when you say, ooh, there's an extra 20 grand I didn't account for.
So you can't increase that.
Typically not. I'd say 90% of the time, no, because I'm already giving you my max comfort, unless you are so well below, which you just don't see right now because people are just overpaying like crazy. So you're already at our max. So the risk is on you when that happens. So make sure you have cash in addition to the cash we are asking for. Because as soon as something goes wrong, you can't come to us and say, hey, I just need to cover another extra 10K. It's like, nope, you gotta figure this out. That's when the unfun part of the job comes in. It's great up until then, because every single job, I've never seen a job that has not had something unexpected come up. The only time it's a problem is when the person said, I spent every penny with you guys, and we say it's figured out. It's a tough thing to say, a tough conversation to have, but it's a reality, because we cannot lose money for our friends and family. So anyway, so this would be about 1,000 square foot general estimate. I know there's tons of nuances that could go in here, but it's pretty easy to flag when somebody says, hey, 20K for rehab. We're like, no. So what that means to us is, okay, so you can be a brand new investor. We work with brand new investors all the time. And so for this deal, let's give that scenario. You're a brand new investor, you've never done a flip before. And let's say that ARV, I don't know, 230. Right? So you're thinking in your head, you make a nice 80K here. Which would be great if you found this. But what's really gonna happen here is at closing, this is gonna bump up to 160 right away. Because you have to pay us, the 4 points. You're gonna have to pay your title company, you're gonna pay your lawyers, you're gonna pay insurance, your realtor. So 160 might even be transfer tax, thank you, yeah.
That's low.
Everything on the HUD, yeah.
Capital gains? No occupancy fees?
No, not for buying it, right?
No, you're selling.
Not
Yeah, yeah,
occupancy, not
Oh, that's-
occupant fee?
That's selling.
Yeah,
Done? Okay.
yeah. So as a buyer, you're good here at 160. So you've already lost 10K that you thought you were gonna make. And so this, alright, so it initially puts you at 80K profit, so now you're already at 70K. Now let's just say we agree with you on your ARV, which we rarely do, because as a lender, it's like realtors and lenders are your spectrum of what your property is actually gonna be worth. Like seriously, you wanna see the high end, like cause as a realtor, it's your job to get the highest amount. That is literally your job. As a lender, our job is to say, this is the least amount you're gonna make, and we're not going any higher than this. we hope your lender or your realtor's right? But we don't lend money on hope. We go worst case scenario, like every time. That's what we do. Worst case scenario. So, so anyway, let's just say we did agree with you, and it's 230K. And I don't know if it'd be the fact that there's 65%. We can always estimate probably about 140, 140ish. 138. So you had?
40's good.
140's good? Okay. Alright, 40's good.
138, really?
It was 138? Yeah. That's good work.
Thank you.
Alright. So 138K is our max loan. So you might be thinking, alright, I only have to bring 22,000 to the table, right? The difference between 160 and 138 is 22K. But now this is where we protect ourselves as a lender. So we're not gonna pull your pay stubs, we're not gonna get your W-2s and your whole life history, but we are gonna look at your experience, because we're looking at you and we assess this within like 5 minutes, and people
Yeah.
don't think it's possible, but you can tell so much in 5 minutes. Are you gonna be able to execute on property? Are you gonna be able, because we don't want that property back, we don't have to go to legal, we don't wanna do that. So one of the red flags that I was hinting at was, if you just told me it's gonna cost you $20,000 to do this 1,000 square foot, I'm like, that's a red flag. I don't tell you this, I don't tell you it's a red flag, but what I do say is my max is now 115K. So my 65% ARV max just went down drastically because your rehab was so far off. I don't think you're gonna be able to complete this project, but I'll still do a loan with you if you really wanna learn. So
And you bring 45 to us.
now you have to bring, 40 or whatever I'm just gonna trust you, your math is on point, 45K. So, and if you're, now this is, what was that? That one was for your bad estimate on the rehab. Your first time flipper, taking another 5K off. First time borrower, taking another 5K, so now I'm only bringing 105K. And then you're gonna say, what the heck? This property's ARV is 230K. How are you said 65%. And it's like, well, we factored in the conversations we just had over the last 5 minutes. You know, which is crazy. People are like, really? Like, yeah, they just lost, they didn't lose, but they have to bring now 23 or 33K more to the table just because of the conversation we had. So
It's like a first date.
it is, yeah. It's just like,
The more you
Well, it's
talk,
brutal
that's
when
just,
only one person's gonna.
It's almost like a conversation with a seller. Before they wanna know how much your house is worth, you can kind of see like what they did to it and what they, their value of what they did versus.
yeah. Same thing.
Yeah, it's like you
Exactly.
better get that number out first, like, because you know they want high and you're thinking, like, some of the feedback is gonna be like,
seriously.
rehab,
Yep.
and they think it's great.
And it's, it's basic to you. You know immediately the certain conversations, certain words they say, you're just,
The wallpaper from
right.
1939 is still intact.
There you go.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
So you get it. You can easily.
10 years ago.
I think it's gorgeous.
So yeah, same concept. You can instantly tell that, and that's it. That's how we would send you the quote. That an hour later, not even, more like 30 minutes later. And if you want to go, we'll meet you at the closing table. The only catch with us is you have to have title in. Has anybody not done a closing before? Okay, so everybody knows what title company is and all that. So that's it. You have title in. That's it. We'll meet you at the closing table. We give you our number. So that's pretty much what a lender's looking at. I mean, it's nothing that's like crazy. There's no secret sauce when you're talking to a lender. It's just be super transparent, and be very direct with our questions. So we only ask like 10 questions, which is nothing compared to other lenders.
Oh, yeah.
But if I ask you what's your credit score, and I get a whole story, and you still haven't given me a number by the end of it, you know, I'm thinking like like using your first date, I'm like, this is before we've given you money. This is before we've had any issues. It's only gonna get worse.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So. So just be very straightforward. You really, the more you hide, and the more that comes up later, the more you're just hurting yourself. Because it's like there's people that are just like, yeah, I got 500 credit. I had medical bills I had to pay. Like straight shooter. Like I can do this. We give them a number that works for us. We can do business. But you tell me it's you tell me it's 700 credit. We do a credit check. He's like, oh, I didn't know it was 500. You know, come on. So just be honest with the lender. It's really, we're not out to get, we are on your, that's probably the hardest thing to get across, because everyone's like always so scared of the lender, is we're on your side, we're on your team. We actually want you to flip this house, we want you to sell it, and we're I shouldn't say free resource, you paid us actually. So you paid us to be a resource for you, so use us, right? Like we'll guide you the whole way, make it as easy as possible. The only thing we ask of you is to swing the hammer. That's it, and then everybody kind of wins. So I think that's.
You can go through the construction real quick?
Yeah, let's do that. Thanks. Yeah.
Really quick, is there any benefit to paying it off sooner? Is there any incentive?
Less interest.
Yeah, do you remember that 8%?
So there's less points then?
No, not points. Points is up front.
Yeah.
So
It's less
that's what I
incre-
mean, so points is upfront, you don't
Points
get
is up
any.
front, that's out the door. The longer you hold, if I give you money, the
So it's
longer you
just
hold
less
it, that's more
interest.
interest I'm charging you.
Yeah, because you're paying every month. It's
Yeah,
monthly
yeah, yeah.
interest only. So actually ours at 14% is 1.167%. So yeah, your 4% is gone. That's gone.
That's, okay.
But every month that you're in this, you're now, it's 1.167% per month too, so you just keep adding, right? So yes, the idea is to
Get it back sooner,
we
yeah,
want we want our money back as soon as we can.
Yep.
So that's your incentive,
Yeah,
to save
yeah,
more
yeah.
money.
How do you pay now?
It's literally, you can either do check, you can do ACH.
No, that's not how I meant. I
Oh.
meant, okay, so I'm in the deal, I bought the house, I'm in construction.
Mm.
Do I have to be paying a mortgage to you? You know, payment, a monthly payment to
Monthly
you, like
interest.
I would a mortgage?
It's a monthly interest.
Yeah, because between you and I,
Uh-huh,
we bought this house. This house is ours now. Well, yours. We are the mortgagee now. And we ask you to pay the monthly interest only.
so it's not like I am off the hook for paying anything for the next 3 months while I get this baby fixed and sold.
For the most part, yeah.
I have to pay you monthly,
Exactly. There usually, like 90% of the time, that's how it is.
okay?
If there's enough room in the deal, like you got an awesome deal and you're buying way low, we could actually roll some payments in to the loan,
Okay,
and then you wouldn't be coming out of pocket.
and how do you calculate that payment?
So this, let's just, to keep it easy again, let's just say we would've gone up to 100K.
Uh-huh,
It's like that, so hard money bankers gave you 100,000.
right,
You brought 60,000,
mhm.
okay? You're only paying on 100,000. You're not paying on what you brought. So it would be
Right.
100,000 times 1.167%. So it would be $1,167 a month.
Okay,
So it's on the total loan that hard money bankers gave.
okay.
That's what it is. Yeah. And same with the 4%. So that'd be $4,000. So between you and I, we come up with $160,000. That's how that works. We come up with the total. Covers the closing, covers the rehab, which we can go into real quick on the draws,
Mhm.
and yeah. That answer everything for both of you.
Yeah, I think so.
It doesn't cover that you said you pay the 1,167 a month.
Mm.
I think she was saying, is there like 3 months where you don't have to pay that 1,100?
No.
Is that what you mean?
No, I meant like you're gonna be paying like a mortgage, so, okay, so, another question to equate it to a mortgage, like usually if you close on this month, you don't have to pay the following month, you pay the 2 months later.
We do per diem, so per day, what per diem is. So let's just say you close July 15th.
Yeah,
In the closing, what the title company puts together is we tell them, here's the per diem. So that'd be 16 days.
Stub interest.
Yeah, 16 days up until August 1st, so you pay the first of every month, right? So at closing, you would pay the additional 16 days of July. So that'd be, around $600.
Okay,
Yeah,
It's actually
and
17,
then
right, if
August
you close on
first,
the
I would have
15th,
to
you
pay
count
you
that day.
yeah,
The full
correct.
month.
Yeah.
the full month. August first, then I pay you the full month.
Correct. Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
I don't only have to have my renovation money, but I also have to have enough money to pay that back.
The debt service, right.
That's right. Yeah. All right. Money's not cheap.
No, just trying to wrap my head around
Yeah.
the difference.
So it's good that you said it. So let's say between the two of us, because you said, or we're saying it's a 50K rental, right?
Mhm.
So what happens here at closing is the 50K goes into an escrow account that we control, the lender controls. Because basically what this is saying is we're gonna give $100,000 on this house, and we're gonna hold $50,000, which is your money basically, because it's our way of making sure you don't just up and disappear.
Yeah.
You care about this. You want this to finish, right? It's skin in the game. You'll hear that term, skin in the game. That this is a lender's skin in the game.
So it's your down, I always thought that to buyers, like when they're putting their money in their escrow, their down money, so that's your down money to be the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, it's pretty straightforward with how draws work. Depending on the deal, for the most part, you also have to cover your first draw. So what I mean by that is, let's say you're able to evenly split this out. 5 draws, by the way, is the magic number when it comes to draws. If you ever do a flip, you'll find you will always do it in 5 draws. People always come to us and say, I can do it in 1 draw, I can do it in 2, I can do it in 10. They always end up doing it in 5. And what,
Interesting.
Who was that? Is that you?
they'll do it in 5. I
Yeah,
swear.
serious, yes, like I had.
He's like, that's not my phone.
That's not me.
You right?
It wasn't me.
So let's just say draw 1. So
That's funny.
when we do a loan, you actually have to give us a scope of work. Scope of work is simply, what are you doing in the house? What are you gonna rehab it with, right?
Do you need the contractor? Do you, like,
It's up to the borrower, we don't care,
yeah.
as a lender, some lenders do, but we
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
Yeah, sometimes like we need, certified only or
Estimates.
licensed,
Yeah.
we will, if it's a big, like if they're adding a level, we're gonna be like, have you ever done this? Show us what your contractor's done.
Yeah.
For the most part, for your basic fix and flip, no, we can tell by you should, as the borrower, you should have gone through with the contractor, yeah. You might not have when you gave us your initial estimate, so it's okay if it changes before closing, but not too much, because again, skin in the game matters to us. But anyway, I'll go into the draws here. So let's just say draw 1 is typically electric, plumbing, HVAC, and demo. So what this means is, well, this probably is going to cost you. This is not an accurate number because that's probably going to cost you like 20 grand to do that. Am I talking too long?
No,
Oh, okay.
your time's up.
Yeah, I don't want to keep like.
You just got gonged.
Yeah, right. We're watching America's Got Talent. I got the X button.
You said it, not me.
So let's say this is 10,000. That means you can put the request in. So you have to cover this. You have to cover the work here for $10,000. Even though you gave us $50,000 to sit in our escrow, we're not giving you money out of that yet. You have to do the work first. So typically you're going to do electric, HVAC, plumbing demo, which is clearing out the house, redoing the wires and the plumbing. Right?
Mold remediation.
Mold remediation. There you go, Amy. Absolutely. That is when they would give you a call. And you know that's more than $10,000 to do all of this, right? Mold remediation is probably what, like
Electric
4 or 5
plumbing?
grand, depending on the house, I guess.
Depends.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's draw 1, and then you basically just submit online with our forum saying electric, plumbing, HVAC done, $10,000. We say great. We're gonna go send an inspector out. We're gonna verify the work's all done, and then once we do that, they literally take pictures, report back saying done. As long as it's good, as long as it's on budget, we release $10,000. Now you go to draw 2, which is say walls, draw 3 floors, kitchen, bathroom, right? So that's how it goes. You split it out into about 5 different draws. Demo, walls would be your next one, right? It's painting, put them up. Same thing, once you're done, put the request in, we send inspector out. So what happens when you get near draw 3 and you haven't even started your kitchen and bathroom yet and the floors aren't done, you're 25 grand behind budget, we say, we're holding the money. You gotta catch this project up. That's basically what it means. If you are behind schedule because of those issues, like you say, well, I opened up a wall and we had to get the remediation done. That was money we didn't account for. That's not coming out of our pocket. We're not raising our loan. So
They give you the scope of each draw request prior to starting the work typically?
typically, yeah.
So then they're gonna say, all right, I'm gonna do these 5 things or whatever, this is how much money I think I need for that. Is there could be discussions at that point, like, dude, you're underestimating by about 10 grand here, kind of thing? Like, there's no way you're gonna get it done at that amount, things like that?
It's actually a gray area for us to do that. Do we internally say, I don't think they're gonna be able to do that? Yes. Do we tell that to the customer? No, because then it becomes investment advice and we can get in legal trouble.
So
if
let me
things go
walk through
wrong.
this scenario, I'm not sure if I'm being clear, right? I come to you, you're the lender on the flipper, right? I come to you and I say, I'm gonna do these 3 things, I need $10,000. Okay, show me when it's done. Okay, I show you when it's done, yeah, why not cost me 12?
Mhm.
Am I SLO on the 2 grand?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, well, actually, I shouldn't say a hard yes on that. Particularly in the beginning, when you're in draw 1 and 2, we don't wanna jam you up. We want to keep you going. So sometimes that may happen, right? But we're gonna say to you, okay, we're gonna release the 12 grand, we're gonna give you the 12 grand here. But around draw 3 and 4, we're gonna tighten up.
Right.
So you kinda have to catch it up in the meantime. If you're around draw 3 or 4 or 5, actually more 4 or 5, having those issues, you're on your own on that. So we'll try to keep you moving the first 3. But yeah, if you like I said, if you haven't even started the kitchen by draw 4, that's a
And
big
the accrued
rip.
interest doesn't kick in until you actually release from the escrow account.
No, it does. There's certain, you're paying for the total loan.
No,
Accrued interest, so you,
oh, so you're paying on the one, right, okay.
Yeah, you're paying
Even
the
though you haven't
100K.
borrowed- Right, even though you technically haven't borrowed it because it's in the escrow account, I understand.
correct, cause
Thank you.
our investors can't, that money's sitting in escrow.
No, I got you.
We can't
You're
make
out of
money off
pocket,
of
you have
it.
to charge for it, I understand.
Yeah. So, but it's actually a new thing that's coming up. We are seeing people do that where they don't charge you until it's released. We don't do that though, cause we think that's more confusing than anything, but yeah,
It's
it's,
helpful, thank you.
so yeah, that's the draws. I think that's, I don't know, 10, think I got everything?
You just didn't hit up the closing costs on the back end, that's the only thing in your math that you had up there before.
We don't do closing costs in the back end.
But I'm talking about
Oh, for the
borrower
borrower. Oh,
evaluating
yeah.
themselves.
Yeah, actually, you're right. Let me finish that. Thank you for.
And while you do that, so is it always residential, or you do commercial also?
It's getting shakier.
As private money, we can touch all of it
Everything.
except for owner occupied. If
Okay.
they live there, we can't do anything.
Gotcha.
But do you?
Yeah, we do residential, commercial. We don't have a minimum loan size. We don't have a maximum. Well, unless you want to go 50 million, that's our max. Yeah, nobody's hit that yet.
I drove past 46 acres the other day, so
Okay,
that
maybe
might be,
that.
might be a time. where someone needs-
So yeah, but to your point, and this is a really a big screw up that a lot of new investors do. They don't realize that 80K they thought they were gonna get. So you have the 160K, now you're at closing. You also have holding costs. You also have holding costs, which if you're in it for, let's just say 6 months, that's gonna add up to another $5,000-6,000. These are things like paying your lender, utilities, your water bills, right? You're paying for electricity, you're paying for all that. Your insurance is being paid, so you're at 165. When you sell it, your realtor is gonna be collecting another between the buying and the closing, they take about 6-7%. So now you're at 170K. There's something else I'm missing. I don't know what it is. Can they, but anyway, you would be making all the way from where you thought you were purchasing it for 150K, you lose 20K just from holding and closing costs. You wanna factor that in, because a lot of times, honestly, that 230K ARV is a huge gap, but we really don't see that too much anymore because people are overpaying. Alright, I'm just gonna give a quick side tangent on what I mean by overpaying. So a lot of times people, they go into a deal with us right now, and they think the ARV is $200,000. They go through the project, and they end up bringing it all the way up to the quality of 200 ARV, but it sells for $220,000, which ends up making them make an additional 20 grand. So they look at us and say, hey, I just made more money. What do you mean I'm overpaying? Well, that's what's happening in an appreciating market, right? The day that market goes flat, you would have ended up at 200 grand. You wouldn't have made that extra 20,000. So people are not accounting for that. The appreciating market is covering their mistakes right now. So let's say you did make a 20K mistake on that project, you made up for it because the market's appreciating, but you still screwed up, you just didn't realize it. So it's hard right now because there's so many people overpaying that everybody kind of has to. That's why lenders are down to like 8% right now, because the margins are so small for everyone. So it is only a matter of time. I guess what I'm saying is just be careful, make sure you don't overpay. Do not rely on the appreciation, because if you're in a deal over 12 months, believe me, that market can start going the other way. You know, you don't want to lose 20K. So make sure you're buying low. That's it. If you don't get it, it's okay. You know, go on to the next deal. You will get one, but make sure you buy low. So I think that's, I don't know, I think I covered a lot. Share sales? Anyone want to share sales?
That's a
You might
whole
have
nother
any
hour.
Additional questions?
So-
Fly if you have to.
Of course.
I don't wanna hold up the group.
Okay, sure.
So what if we put, if I borrowed 50 million,
Uh-huh.
I bet it on black,
Ah,
and I get it back to you the next day,
okay.
what's my interest?
Well, the 4 points at close you would have paid.
Okay.
Plus however many days.
Alright.
You ain't
Plus out, so the one day.
D for death.
Yeah, don't.
I
don't
know,
recommend
I
you
know,
do that.
I know it's gonna hit.
If you got collateral, we can make it happen.
Actually, it's not 50-50. You have a green that's a zero.
Okay.
Huh?
You have a green that's a zero, so it's not
It's like
50-50.
47.
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. Does anybody have any questions, or I'll be here.
And you said 24 hours, what you can close? That's,
Yeah.
even for like a first timer for you?
Yeah.
Wow,
We've
that's
done it.
awesome.
Yeah, and if you need like a pre-approval letter too, a lot of times, people need, like, if you're trying to put a bid in on a house, they'll say, hey, do you have a proof fund, pre-approval letter? Happy to do that for you too. So, no cost. If anybody's trying to charge you for that, or like saying, you know, it's $2,000 up front, just walk away. It's, whether it's a scam or an actual lender, you shouldn't be, go find somebody who'll do it for free for you.
Wow.
But, yeah.
Wow, very nice.
And